Welcome, everybody. It's Stay Tuned El Paso, episode 101. Our first episode of Stay Tuned El Paso with Priss and Vic. I am Vic.
I am Priss.
Priss, so nice to see you yet once again.
I know, this is great.
We don't have enough time in our lives lately, though we do, but you and I don't have a chance to see each other as much as I'd like to.
Even though we're like neighbors, it's so weird.
I know, right? And it's not like we're doing anything, but we're always too busy to bump into each other. Stay tuned, El Paso. We're going to be talking about highlights, the great things happening in and around El Paso, legendary people who are legends in the making. And when you talk about El Paso legends, yeah, I say it. He's one of the few people that I can actually throw that title on. And
yes.
everybody's going to agree with, right? Absolutely. El Paso's, and this is what I've dubbed you. El Paso's Rick Rubin. Joe Dorgan is our first guest. Hey, Joseph, how are you?
Good, glad to be here.
I am. No, it's our honor. It's our privilege.
Absolutely.
We're recording here at the downtown spaces in El Paso, which is right around, downtown, off of San Francisco, and we're in your backyard.
Oh, my gosh.
How many memories?
My neighborhood, yeah.
I can't imagine as you were driving up, the car didn't want to keep turning to the right a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I'm late for work. I have to get that door open.
You're late about 20 years, but nonetheless. What a story, what stories people have associated with you. People here in El Paso. Now, for those who don't know, obviously we're going to have people who don't know. Joe Dorgan is an absolute legend. No,
not at all.
Joe Dorgan is an absolute legend in this city. You cannot say Joe Dorgan and not think of Club 101. Possibly one of the best clubs ever in El Paso. And dare I say, Joe?
100% agree.
In the world. In the world.
Oh, wow.
Dude.
Absolutely. There was no vibe like that vibe. There was, and there still has not been.
And I don't think there ever will be. I don't think there
so.
ever will be. You talk about Club 101 and its various incarnations. You moved it along a few times, but I think the one thought that comes to everybody with Club 101 was the old warehouse,
the original one,
downtown,
500 San Francisco
Wednesday
Street.
nights.
And we're right here.
Do you remember those nights?
I had a fake ID. I'm sorry, guys.
She was telling me that story.
I still went on Wednesday. I even ran into an old teacher one time. It was phenomenal. That's what I mean. You'll never get that again.
But that's the thing. Before we were getting things ready here, we were starting to get our feelings in about stuff and our footing in. And everybody has. How many times have you been approached with, I got in for free? I had a fake ID.
I had a fake ID.
Yeah. How many times in your life have you heard that? Everybody's got that story.
That has to tell you, though, how famous you've been for so long. I was dying to see you when I was underage.
And, again, we're just hyping you up,
I was telling everyone I was underage, too, at the time.
Yeah.
I was still chasing you, Joe. I was still chasing you.
That was part of it, though, wasn't it? I mean, you got to go into Club 101. You heard amazing music. It was the warehouse. It was the drinks. But there goes Joe. There's Joe Dorgan. You were part of the spectacle. Mm-hmm. Whether there was a concert going on, whether it was just a venue on a Wednesday night, you were part of the show. Who's playing the music today? Oh, hey, look, it's Joe. So, wow. How do you carry all of that still to this day?
It's overwhelming, but it was a lot of fun. And every day there's a story. I get to hear a new story about 101.
And it's a different story. Yeah. It's something that you probably hadn't heard before.
I really want to see more of these pictures floating around. I'd like to see more videos.
Polaroids.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah.
I think
we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have social media.
Well, let's go back. Let's go back in time. Let's go back in history. From El Paso originally, how did you end up in we don't know the Joe Dorgan story.
To know
or is there a story that we can tell?
We need to know your background. I know. Can we? No.
Sure. Why not?
Growing up in El Paso, born in El Paso?
Most of my life, I lived in Austin for a year, but yeah, all my life, El Paso.
Parents from the area?
My parents, yeah. They born and raised here.
So what?
Well, my father moved here from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Originally from Louisiana. So what got you into the club scene? What made you fill in that role? Because it is a huge role that you filled in? And again, it sounds like we're blowing smoke up your ass. We're not. You set the bar for things
It
in
was
town.
all about pretty girls.
Really?
To start off, when I was a youngster, I saw these two girls across the street, and there was a record player, and they were playing Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Okay.
I wanted to talk to these girls. And then I had older friends that liked Rolling Stones, and then when I was in high school, I thought it'd be cool to have a club. And I told my friends I was going to do a club. And then when I got into college, I went to fraternity parties, and they had record players on the floor. So I'm like, we built a DJ booth, and I started playing fraternity parties until we got kicked off campus.
I would imagine.
So what time frame are we talking about? Because I want to make the connection.
You're going to date me.
I know. It's got to be, I'm just saying, well, it's got to be 80s. It's got to be early,
like
mid-80s.
Okay, well, yeah, so I started DJing like in 81.
Okay.
I was playing these fraternity parties, and I would make the flyers for these parties. I had a Who Killed Buckwheat party. Remember Saturday Night Live?
Absolutely.
But I didn't realize it was during Black History Month. And so the dean of students dragged us into the office, and we had these ridiculous, crazy parties where I would flyer the whole campus in an hour.
Nice.
And so I moved the parties to the Mesa Inn and started doing stuff there. And then club owners like to change the deal. Like, did I say you're going to get the whole door? No, we're going to give you I'm like, okay, I'm out of here.
How long was I vaguely remember Mesa Inn Club 101 days, if you could. But how long was that?
Well, I'm sorry, but right after college days, I found a warehouse on the east side called Lost Iguana, which was a wedding hall. Mm-hmm. And that was, I was doing Saturdays, but then I started booking shows. And local bands wanted to play there, but my very first national act was Book of Love. I had 3 days to promote it. Wow. They called me and said, hey, there was a cancellation in Flagstaff. Would you like to do this show? I'm like, oh. I lost about $800, but that's where I got started doing. Then I started getting calls for national acts.
And you're talking about, those who don't know, obviously Book of Love at that time wasn't retro. That was what it was. It was the music of that alternative. It wasn't even labeled as such in the 80s. That was just pop music back then. That's what the music was.
And I think right after that, they got the tour with Depeche Mode. So
right.
Yeah.
How many? I want to get into those stories of all these bands that you brought in, where people go back and say, "Wow, really? 9 Inch Nails played here before? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really, No Doubt played here before." You were notorious for bringing in the bands, and I'm talking about right before they broke and hit huge. And it's funny, Joe was talking about it, Priss, before you showed up, but behind the scenes, we're talking about concerts, $10.
Oh, yeah.
$5. No doubt.
$5.
$5 to see No Doubt.
Box, what else came? There was a couple.
We did Shots with Gwen Stefani. That was such a great show. That was just the alternative song, I'm Just a Girl. So, but of course we had it before she came out with Don't Speak.
Right.
That was a great show. And then we got to see her. We got to see the whole band at Inamashu, and they remembered the show. The guys were like, yeah, there was these 2 guys that were in this band at the drive-in. They took us to Juarez.
Oh, wow. It's always
so
that
they
story.
remembered. They remembered 101. What's that?
It's always
that story with we somehow take people to Juarez. You know what I mean?
And how we got out, I have no idea, but here we are on a Sunday. Yeah, exactly.
Just like 9 Inch Nails, right before the show, they bicycled over to Juarez.
That is crazy. Funny. So out of all these bands that you brought in, it's kind of a loaded question because I sort of know the answer, but do you still keep in contact with? Do you still talk to? Can you still call Trent, say, hey, Trent, it's Joe. Hey.
I'd probably get an answering machine or something. No, I mean, there's some... regional acts. I mean, I stay in touch with Book of Love. I still stay in touch with Anything Box. My friends who have The Hunger. One of them was running the Scout bars in Houston, but during this quarantine time, they're putting out music. And so they've been sending me music. Oh, you can't play this yet, but what do you think? And
That's so exciting to have that. Isn't it amazing? Did you feel special?
Yeah. So
sometimes I do get like samples that aren't, and I mean, to me, that's a gift.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I do keep in touch, and yeah.
We talk about you wanting to open up a club, and ever since as a kid, even through college or whatever. Was there a real? You said Pretty Girls, obviously, but was there a real inspiration? Was there somebody who inspired you? Were you looking at other clubs? Were you looking at places in New York and saying, man, if I could be like that, if I could open up a big disco like they did? Or did you just do it on your own?
Well, I said that about Pretty Girls. I mean, I saw John Lennon talk about, or no, I read something that doing things for the wrong reasons, but no, I mean, music was just... But music is just, it's like, I mean, it's, it's a passion. So I think you guys definitely have it.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good times, bad times, when you have breakups or
Everything.
Music. Yeah, I was in Brooklyn like 2 or 3 years ago, and I went to this club, and it was famous. I'd had Nirvana play there. But I'm like, wow, I could compete against this. I mean, I could 101. That's nice that you said that, because I've been to other cities where like, yeah, 101 could have been just as good
just
as
as big. But even on its own, and we've always said how much El Paso is separate from any other city. What works here doesn't work anywhere else, and what works everywhere else doesn't work here. Okay, say it if you will, we're 10 years behind. Whatever, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is Club 101, and I know you'll agree with this. Again, I'm not trying to suck up to you, but Club 101 was its own identity. Nothing that anybody can do now is going to get to the same level as 101. And I don't think, and of course we're talking about the original Warehouse, Club 101 never tried to be like anybody else. It was just so
its own entity. Exactly. I totally agree with you. It
No,
just
agree.
had its own flavor. Its
different.
own
It was just,
different crowd. I mean, you could see anybody of any age at any time there, but like you said, it was a lot of really hot people. What I do remember from, because they're kind of fuzzy, those memories.
And the regulars, and I mean the people who were there all the time.
And they were
became
characters.
They became staples of.
That's what I mean.
Well, when I was playing at the Lost Iguana, and I was just right out of high school, college.
Were you lost? Just kidding.
Yeah. That was when the Smiths was coming out, and I used to love to read Enemy, and I'd find out about these bands, and then I'd get my brother from Austin to ship me this music. So we were playing it as soon as it was breaking out in Austin, in England. But that was when I realized that kids were just way too cooler than I was. We started letting high school kids. That was when they were wearing the dresses, the skirts. Guys were in the girls' bathroom. Girls were in the guys' bathroom. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to try to dress cool. These people are way too cool. I can play the music.
Confusing.
Right.
But
right. It was confusing times for everybody.
Yeah.
Drunk. Where do I go? I gotta pee.
But these were the kids that were the misfits of all the other high schools that weren't the jocks or the socias or whatever. Mm-hmm. They were the ones that were the outcasts, and so I was kind of the leader of that. And then I took all these people to Club 101, and they kept me up on new music and stuff like that. So it really wasn't that hard. I mean, somebody had a friend in Los Angeles or family. Hey, did you hear about this band? Or, so we were on the cutting edge. There was a couple times where, there was one time where I was asked to play at the Electric Cue, and I got the biggest compliment from somebody who's like, I live in Mexico City, and you play great music. You're not playing this top 40 stuff that the radios are pushing out. So
right. It's funny how here we are recording as we record. It's 2020, and it's funny how we think of retro, and our first thoughts are of Depeche Mode. And not only is it Depeche Mode, but it's the hits. Where you went to Club 101, you weren't going to hear
just
the hits. Yeah, you weren't going to hear just that.
You heard Nine Inch Nails. You heard sometimes Madison Avenue. You heard,
Prince. Joe was the first guy that I knew that was. Exactly. You're playing Pussy Control, and the dance floor would go nuts. I'm going to say it because I'm the Prince freak, obviously. I'll say Pussy Control.
I want to go to his house and see his collection. I want to see the vault.
He's going to charge you admission.
I'll pay it.
He'll pay. He'll get copies. He'll burn them down. But and so what I asked you previously, talking about retro, you have become associated with retro.
Right.
Are you okay with that title? I mean, are you okay with knowing that when it comes to retro in El Paso, when it comes to those great hits and all those great memories of retro, it's Joe Dorgan?
I'm okay with it, but I'm still, I got to play. I play in between her sets, and I mean, there's nothing like live music.
Sure.
So as much as I like DJing, and I hope you're putting out new music, because to me, I'm still looking for new music. I do this podcast called Stepping Out, and so it's my vehicle for finding new music.
Is the Stepping Out podcast a spinoff of the old Stepping Out from way back in the day? Oh my God, Joe, you've had your hand in everything. I remember listening to Stepping Out, and maybe I'm no pun intended overstepping my boundaries here, but I remember listening to Stepping Out when the Fragile was being released, and you were making a big deal about Nine Inch Nails and the Fragile. I'm going to be honest with you, back at that time frame, I wasn't listening to Nine Inch Nails, but that's the connection. I remember listening to Stepping Out going, okay.
It was KXCR. It was a 10,000 watt station. And at one time, there was this ratings called the Birch System. We had the number one ratings Sunday nights from 8 to 12. We beat the local radio stations by 50%. I mean,
which is huge. It was huge.
It was word of mouth.
Yeah.
And we were just kids playing music, and it was started before me. It was a show for high school kids, but they knew I had a lot of vinyl. So then I brought Cesar Flores on, and we had bands come in and take over the studio at the drive-in, bands that were playing at 101.
Wow.
I want to talk about Cesar. I want to talk about Paul, because that was the other great thing about being at Club 101, whether it was the original downtown or even the one that opened up here on the west side. Like I said, you've opened up various locations of Club 101. But that was the one thing, and I touched on it earlier, but that was the one thing you could always count on, were the DJs they were part of that spectacle, including yourself, because you'd get up and DJ, and man, it'd be nonstop. But I'm almost jealous. I'm slightly jealous of the relationship you had with Paul and, of course, with Cesar. What a fantastic clique of people. These guys knew their music as well.
Oh yeah, I mean the genres of music. We were so alternative, but then dance music came out, and we're like, should we go that way? And we did. We tried to do it all.
The ladies like to dance. That's what I've always heard. You got the ladies dancing, you're gonna have everyone happy.
There was just a lot of places that were live music only, and we wanted to be a dance club, and we had shows, and we had.
You 100% achieved that you've instilled memories in me and many, many, many others in this country.
Hopefully good memories.
Yeah.
What I remember, yes.
While we're talking about memories, and I want to give him his due. Let's talk about Cesar here for one quick moment. We lost Cesar how long ago?
It's been over a year. So yeah, and there's not a day that I don't think about him, And there's so many pictures and reminders, and
it was a huge loss. I mean, in El Paso, and again, we're talking legendary. I'm going to put you on the status of legendary, but you were there because you were on the shoulders of people like Cesar and Paul. And when Cesar passed, it was unseen. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's such a major loss, because how much did he bring to Club 101? How much did he bring to Joe?
Oh, he was always challenging me, and inspire me to play different songs and stuff like that. So, he was like a brother.
What was his knowledge of music? I imagine that he knew it all also. And again, you get associated with the retro, you get associated with the old school, if you will. But I'm sure Cesar brought so much to the table, even here most recently.
Yeah. Things happen, we go different ways and stuff, but we had just reunited, and so we were so excited because we were talking about doing a new 101. And so we were, for these last 2 years playing together at different bars and stuff like that. So We played in the gay district. We played just everywhere. It was fun.
We talk about the different. You said something. I'm gonna come and touch on it before we start wrapping up. As we get close to wrapping up here, stay tuned, El Paso with Priss and Vic. But with all the different clubs you had your hand in, and correct me if I'm wrong, weren't you helping out with the comic strip also back in the day? Didn't you do some stuff with Bart?
I was their very first manager, so that was a eye-opening experience.
And again, I'm sure you took a lot of that into learning for the club scenes also. You've had your hand in so many different clubs with Club 101 variations and with other clubs as well, whether you opened up a different club. We were talking about Area 51, E9. Each one of those clubs were different in their way also. Various incarnations of Club 101 on the west side, on the east side there we tried for a while. So here's the $1 million question, Joe. And I know as we're recording, we're in the middle of a pandemic, COVID.
Almost over. The year is almost over.
We'll try to get through it. And you're constantly trying to keep yourself busy. I mean, we can talk about the Stepping Out podcast. You were doing stuff on Facebook, doing the Facebook Lives and stuff. And please mention all that again for us. But the $1 million question is there.
It wasn't me.
Is there going to be... we're dying to know. Is there going to be another Club 101? Are we going to see Club 101 again in the future?
Well, I want to do another place. I was working on a bar on the west side, and we had a lease, and we had a liquor license, and COVID hit. So I just spoke to these investors yesterday. I would like to do another a 101. I'd like to do several different things. So, but yeah, I would like to do.
And I know it's hard to speak because of where we are in the country, in the world, in El Paso right now. 9:00, everybody's got to go to bed, apparently.
We have to manifest, though. He's going to reopen 101.
Speak it to the universe.
He's going to.
So never say never. We will see a version of, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's a year from now, 2 years from now, I want to, it's in my blood. And, when I saw her play, I'm like, God, I love live music.
Oh, bless you. I know. I love the same. When you were playing in between our sets, I was like, oh, I love this so much. It's just perfect.
That's what's funny to me. Not funny, but that's what's great to me is that
perfect balance.
Joe sees the live music, a live band performing, and says, we need to have that. The live band hears Joe being a DJ and
with
says,
his beautiful, your whole package. And, and he even took a shot of tequila with me.
Wow, well,
I forced him. I'm sorry.
He thought it was water. He thought it was dirty water.
I was like, this is how we start. He's like, okay. I don't think so.
But I definitely, I feel responsible for my scene. I don't want it to fall off the map. And I think an opportunity is going to happen when COVID's over that, I saw the documentary of the Go-Go's and I'm like, these girls were learning their instruments while they were playing at these famous clubs. And I'm like,
insane.
So, there's a big opportunity for regional and national acts, but, local, regional. We have such great talent here. So,
oh, man, you nailed it. There's so much talent in this town, which I can't wait to, start.
So I'd like to be a part of it.
Well, talent, we talk about the bands and the live music and talent there. There's also talent in the DJs. Absolutely. There's also talent in people making that music and bringing the music, no pun intended, music to the masses.
I feel like it's a whole formula. It's not just simple. You don't just go and pick a random playlist. It's a formula. It's an actual plan. To me, I think it's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of emotion.
Sure, absolutely.
You can almost feel naked.
Well,
okay, well, thank you. Thanks for that as we start getting close to wrapping up here.
I was trying to wrap it up, guys.
Stay tuned, El Paso.
I want to book bands, and I also want to work with some DJs. I was talking to some DJs, some younger DJs, but I want to find somebody that I'm not saying like me, but I want somebody who steps on the gas. There's so many DJs where a song plays and then the next comes in, and it all sounds so smooth. I was the kid following that DJ playing in the Cult and 9 Inch Nails, just interrupting everything,
right? With
videos and whatever. Because I'm
a visual person too, so the videos are awesome. I love them.
I was mixing VHS at Mesa, because we didn't have, and then DVD came in, and then now you can rip videos. And
the technology has advanced so quick, and you were still on the forefront of it all. I'd hate for it to at some point feel like it passed you by, because
no, not at all.
We were waiting for, we were waiting for something else to happen. And I think that's everybody's feeling though, Joe, is that we want
pressure.
to, yeah, no pressure, but we want to put you back on
Absolutely.
that pedestal and
You've
say,
got our
this is
support.
it. Yeah, this is where it started.
All right. Can we give out that GoFundMe address?
Yeah, please, absolutely.
We'll support you. I will
Dude,
donate.
we're
If it's for the music, absolutely.
And so speaking of that, as we quickly start to get close to wrapping up, what are the other projects that you're working on right now? I know you have another gig right now that you're actually literally at work, but let's talk about your other projects. Are you doing other podcasts? Are you doing other streaming and live shows? You did some stuff on Facebook. Now that Facebook kind of sort of changed up their rules about things, where can people find Joe Dorgan at now?
I don't know, because when Facebook got weird, we went to this site called Big O for a couple of weeks.
Right.
So I don't know. I'd love to do a podcast like this. We do the Stepping Out. Hopefully I get to play live again.
Yes.
But
I'll make it happen.
right now I don't have any projects with these new rules now.
Well,
Till 9:00. Maybe I've been asked to play brunches. Okay.
I was about to say, we can do the day thing. I'm all about the daytime. So,
Yeah, me too.
I really think that's the way it's going to have to start
We gotta
shaping
adapt.
and moving.
We're not going to, as much as they want to try and stop the music,
Right.
they can't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't stop. And the one thing that I've learned in the past couple of years, even though he may not be in the forefront of things, because like I said, you had your hand in Stepping Out. You had your hand in the old, we didn't even get to talk about the Hero episodes of being on the air there
Oh my
as
God,
well.
that was a blast.
You did that for about 2-3 years as well, hanging out with us over at Hero. But the one thing that you can't do with Joe is you can't stop Joe either. Joe's got the gears grinding. Joe's got stuff always in the works. And we all look forward to it. And it's just an honor having to sit next to you. As long as I've known you, I don't think we've ever really sat down and chit-chatted about stuff. And before we started
The
recording,
Hero days. Wow, that was a blast.
two or three thoughts come to mind about that. We can't even get into.
I want to know these stories.
It was just, but you know what it was? It was a lot like what you and I are doing right now. I got to work with Joe on the Hero days. You worked on Hero for about 3 years. I'm estimating. I got to work with you on Hero for about a year, and it was just great to be in the room and to get that knowledge and that energy of Joe Dorgan and just pull in years of his experience and try to get it in a capsule in a moment.
Working with you, I'm a sponge, so you're a radio professional, and I was learning a lot from you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well,
I was soaking it all in. I learned from JoJo. I remember one day I missed lunch hour, and then all of a sudden I heard that they got Scott Ronson on, and he was like broadcast news. He's like, "Okay, Joe, what's the name of that band again?" Depeche Mode, Scott. Depeche Mode. But I mean,
oh, God bless you, Scotty. I love you.
Yeah.
But I learned so much from you and JoJo and Scott, and I'm never too big to learn. I mean, I would love to do radio again.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so would I. so would I, Joe.
Let's
to
make
be
our
honest,
own radio stations,
Yeah.
guys. Let's just create our own 101.
Well, that Stepping Out was such a vehicle. I mean, we could play local, regional. I mean, it's just scary that radios now is so, I don't know, corporate that.
Exactly, you said it.
Yeah.
Corporate.
for the good and the bad of it.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a backing of corporate, but sometimes it sucks the life out. Joe, you brought in some fantastic pictures. You brought in some Ace, our producer extraordinaire, brought in some great stuff as well. The Misfits dolls. We'll get pictures of these. We're going to post them as we maybe intertwine and do the interview with Joe. We'll show some of these great pictures.
We have a mask, just so you know it's not a
I brought the 101
Oh my
yearbook.
God.
It's the Bible, all the shows.
I can feel it.
The Holy Grail. Thank you to Lisa and Kelly.
I was looking at
I
the
feel buzzed already.
yeah, right. I was looking at the Nine Inch Nails autograph. I'm saying, how much you want to sell that for? $10?
That's
Can I get
amazing.
that?
Trent scratched out his face.
Yeah. Can you get that? Get a shot of that real quick. Hold that up.
Yeah,
Trent shot.
Look at that.
Got it? Oh man.
Remember, we used to have a payphone inside 101, so he was standing behind stage. He wouldn't talk to anybody.
Wasn't it next to the cigarette machine? There was a cigarette
Yeah.
machine too, right?
clove machine? I think we had.
Joe, it's a fantastic, and like I said, we could spend hours upon hours talking about all these great memories, all these great bands that managed to come into town that if you didn't see them, man, you missed out. No doubt. Nine Inch Nails. It was one of the bigger, who do you think in retrospect now, the biggest band that you probably brought in At this point, I mean, Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, Nine Inch Nails, No Doubt, Slayer, Pantera.
They're all huge.
Yeah.
They're all about the same. I don't
Village.
know.
And they were all about $10.
It's crazy. What's his
Hall of
name?
Famer Deion Sanders was on strike. Or no, the baseball strike and football was over, so he came in with his rap album, Must Be the Money.
That's right.
Must Be the Money.
I remember
remember that
Deion
song?
Sanders.
That was fun.
Yeah, I
That was
remember.
such a random, like.
Yeah, out of nowhere. Out of
Probably
nowhere.
Nine Inch Nails, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. Well,
Legend.
if you talk to Trent, tell him I said hello.
I'd love to say hello.
I
wouldn't.
I know, and of course, it goes without saying that some of the more famous, what you helped do, you made some of these bands almost El Paso locals, from Book of Love to Anything Box. You can't say Anything Box, and man, you had them in maybe once or twice a year. If we were lucky, you'd get them in more times. And Anything Box is one of the more appreciative bands that have been through town, and I think it's because of Club
I
101.
remember Lords of Acid too, right?
Lords of Acid.
Lords of Acid.
Man, sorry, that just came in. I remember
Yeah.
them. They were very, very.
We can go on for hours and
edgy.
hours and hours. We'll get a couple of shots of the pictures. But Joe,
Yes.
again, thank you so much. I know everybody has
It's been a
great
pleasure.
Club
Thank you.
101 memories.
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to more and more. Priss has a final question for you.
Always want to know. I'm a little Peppa, and I want to know, how do you feel about joint Facebook accounts? Yes or no? You don't have to elaborate. I just want to know yes or no.
No. And there is a... God, I'm going to get in trouble
Yes.
for
Here we go.
I'm going to get in trouble for that. There's a famous local musician, and him and his wife have a page together.
Okay.
And I'm like, you're a rock star, dude. This is your page. You can still have a life with her, but no.
No.
Why? You have
Why?
a joint page?
Never.
She's
I
just
know.
asking.
I just love to ask because everyone has such a different outlook on it, and mostly it's been no, which I appreciate because
No. And I hope I don't get in trouble with this musician because I love him to death, but please don't have a joint
maybe
page.
it'll help.
Should I mention his? No, I'm kidding.
No,
It's
don't.
subliminal
I'm
no.
kidding.
And with that, we say thank you, Joe.
Do you
Thanks
have a-
for
you don't
hanging
have a
out
joint
for us.
page?
No, of course not.
No.
She has her own. I have my own.
I love them both.
Priss
They're
has-
so different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
you
kind of
has-
follow his wife more than him.
She is cool.
You're listening to Stay Tuned El Paso with Priss and Vic, our premiere episode, first episode 101. It had to be with Joe Dorgan. Of course, and where did 101 come from? Is it the Depeche Mode? Tell me, it's the Depeche Mode.
That's what a lot of people said, and we always pushed that theory. But it was, I was in San Francisco and Highway 101, and I thought of Club Alcatraz, this and that, but I'm like, 101. Keep it simple,
I
stupid.
love
Simple
it.
kiss. Keep
I
it simple,
love it.
stupid.
Right.
They're my
Absolute.
favorite.
Our thanks to Joe for coming out with us this afternoon and hanging out. Also, while we're giving out our thanks to Ace, our premier extraordinaire producer,
Ow.
as well as Jennifer, our intern, the Office Spaces downtown, for letting us be here, and of course the Herald Post for hosting us and being out. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Stick
you so
around; we've
much.
got plenty more great stuff lined up for you, and of course, legendary Joe Dorgan. Stay tuned, El Paso, with Priss and Vic. Thanks, everybody.